are
All right.
live. We are live.
Hello, hello, everybody. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. You have just tuned in to Let's Talk About It with Alice, and we are excited today. We have a great segment today, and we are actually celebrating this wonderful occasion as it relates to breast cancer awareness. We talked a little bit about it on our first day back, and we say today is one of those special days that we are actually going to talk about it a little bit more in detail, talking about the myths, talking about the facts about breast cancer awareness. So you want to join in and you want to hit share and you want to also share this with some of your friends right now. This is going to be great. We have Dr. Michelle Webb back with us today.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
We
Thanks for
have
having
Dr.
me.
Shawana Clark. Are you there?
Woo!
And we have Terry. Yay.
Hello,
We're wearing our pink, of course, and Shawana, of course, today celebrating the game, the team. So, but we're excited. We got her. She's live here in Atlanta. Can you believe that? So we are really excited. So we say to you, please join in with us as we talk about this. So over the past few weeks, we've been talking about youth and violence and what's really going on with our young people. Had some great guests on. We also had an opportunity to really talk a little bit more about with a therapist last week, and she brought some great clarity to us as it relates
Yes.
to what our young people are really dealing with, but just families in general. So, as you know, let's talk about it's all about family, all about our lives and the things that are happening, and to keep you informed. We definitely don't want you to forget. Hey, early voting starts tomorrow. Please keep
Woo!
that in mind.
You're
We
in Georgia.
need
Yes.
you
Go,
to
go.
go out and vote. You've got 3 weeks before the actual voting date. So that means 3 weeks that you can go to your county courthouse and other places that's designated for you to cast your early vote. Please, people, we need everyone to go out and vote. We just want to share that with you just before. Okay, you got
I
something,
do.
Shawana?
So just because I'm here in the ATL, you guys have some interesting stuff going on with your Senate race.
Uh-huh.
Do you care to talk about this Herschel Walker and
I
Warnock?
do.
Because
Well,
that is
also,
like a joke.
yes, yes. But
Yeah.
also, before we get back, I would actually urge everyone to check their county's website for voting
Yes.
because in certain counties, you
Yes.
don't have a total of 3 weeks. You have exactly 1 week. For example, Carroll County, you have tomorrow the 17th through next week,
Oh,
I
good
believe
to
the
know.
23rd.
Oh,
So
wow.
please,
Wow.
everyone, by all means, because see, Fulton County and some other counties may have 3 total weeks from
Wow.
tomorrow through November 4th. Not all counties are created the same or equal. That's here in Georgia. Please, for your
Oh,
state, your
wow.
county location,
So
please
good.
go to your electoral website and
Right.
don't think that you have an abundance of time to check
Mm.
this out and make sure that you vote early to get and so know your specific time, and then also the deadline for like requesting an absentee ballot and things of that nature.
Right.
I would suggest that you go to your local county office and do absentee in person, because if you're going to wait for the snail mail at this time, you're going to miss your window.
Wow.
Oh,
Thank you.
wow.
We need that
Oh,
information. Knowledge
Oh,
is power.
I could give
Yes.
a quick update just on Virginia. It
Mm-hmm.
has, all mail-in ballots need to be cast by November 8th. And like Dr. Michelle said, you can go to the Virginia website and pull down the information for early voting, how you can get your absentee ballot, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure that everybody get out there and do what you're supposed to do and get those ballots turned in on time or go to the polls and
Absolutely.
vote the day of.
Yes. And make
And
sure
have
that
your
Well,
you read everything carefully, because here in
Mhm.
Georgia, there are extra steps for your absentee ballot. You have to have it witnessed by a third party. and things of that nature to document that that is your actual signature, because a lot of those ballots and things, they gave people quote unquote time to get it corrected. Some people were notified by mail, some didn't. And if you didn't receive notification, then that ballot was cast out, it was thrown away. So we don't want to have that happening. Please, 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 everybody be aware, because this is a critical time. And we know every time there's an election cycle, we say, oh, this is the most important vote. But let me tell you, it's getting more and more crucial each and every time to
Mhm.
make your voice count. That one vote that you didn't cast could be the difference.
So
Wow.
let's get back to these special cases that you guys have here, because y'all have some interesting things going on with this election. I mean, I'm sure across the nation, but can we chat
Yes.
about the two
I think we should.
candidates?
Senate candidates
Yeah, so I would
Herschel
love your
Walker
opinions.
and Warnock.
Hmm. Love your opinions. Y'all got a little quiet, but it'll be nice to hear what your thoughts are.
Yes. The what did they have the debate on Friday?
Wow.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
Wow.
The
Yeah,
debate was it was very
was.
interesting. I
It
be
was.
quite honest, I was really surprised, and I should not have been surprised at the
Hmm.
fact that Herschel Walker kind of, he stayed. He answered questions. You could tell that, of course, he had been, coached, and I understand that's okay. But I did not like the fact that, okay, we still throwing these little jabs and punches and things like that. It wasn't even necessary. So all of that could have been washed, and he would have done a pretty decent job. But he had to do a lot of, you know jabbing and just jabbing at every question. He was throwing
Yeah,
a
as they
jab.
do.
Yeah. So,
I mean, they all
but
seem to do that,
yeah,
thinking that everybody's trying to get that media spin cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're trying to get that 24 hours, because after 24 hours it dies out. So everybody's trying to get that one liner in there that somebody's going to repeat. Um, and
Hmm.
I like you, Elder. I felt, but here's the caveat to this too.
okay.
Senator Warnock had actually extended invitations for debates, plural debates, and dates and times. And it was said by the other candidate, Herschel Walker, "Oh, I'm ready to, debate him anywhere in time. Just name it." And reportedly, he continued to decline or not answer those requests until this last and final request went forth. And then it was said that his campaign, in order for them to do it, he would have to know the questions in advance. Well, that's something that is never done. So
Well, you
they
can
had
tell
to
he
have
got
that
the
time.
questions in advance.
Oh, absolutely. He definitely got the questions in advance just so that they could go forth and actually have a substantive debate. And that was the whole issue. So they said, fine, provide him with the questions, but you have to then provide both sides with the questions. So there was a lot of preparation, a lot of grooming that I saw, that, he was able to at least attempt to um, look as though he had something of substance to say, and that
Yes.
he a little bit more polished. He was definitely not gaffe prone as he normally is on the circuit when he's out there pandering for votes.
Hmm.
So you knew there were certain things, and he tried to, and they told him to stick to the script, which he definitely tried to do. The one thing that the moderator at the end, when Reverend Warnock, Senator Warnock said, "Well, my opponent has a problem with the truth." He says, "Because I've never pretended to be in law enforcement or a police officer." And then Walker
Hmm.
pulls out this deputy dog badge. I'm like, Jesus, stop. And
Uh-huh.
they
What's wrong
told him,
with
look,
him?
put that away. It's a
It's
prop.
a prop. He said it
It's a
wasn't.
prop. And he says, no, blah, blah, blah. And they said, no, you know the rules. And that was the one thing that I think that was, at that point, exceedingly unprofessional
Right.
on his part.
Hmm.
Um, Go ahead and either refute what's being said, but don't start pulling out things because you knew the question in advance
Yeah.
Hmm.
and what may have come up as quote unquote a potential attack,
Right.
that you then try to score points pulling out this deputy dog badge. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, children have that.
It was really, yeah. One of the other things that was amazing to me for Herschel Walker to come out when he first, I guess came out, was that he just had a conversation with his daughter and son. Now, my understanding, he's got more than two children, right? So,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
okay,
Right.
really,
The understanding, I think, is I believe it's alleged that there are at least 4 kids,
yeah,
and the one child, the son, has spoken out against him. He's also a conservative, and he said he's tired of the lies. The whole thing has been a lie. He has not been involved. I believe the son was the one who said he has 4 children. He wasn't there, X, Y, and Z. And so then you try to make a point of saying, I spoke with my son and my daughter. Okay, great. You're supposed to do that. That's what parents do. Even if you're not there and present, you should hopefully have an open line of communication with your children.
absolutely.
Hopefully. Amen.
Well, I thought I'd throw that nugget in there just to try to figure, not nugget, but just try to throw that little wrench in there just to kind of see what your thoughts were. Because I was like listening to
Yeah.
so many people talk about it, and
Yeah.
and have just been just watching in a state of like, what have we come to when
It
it
has
comes to
it.
people running? But we can move on, But I wanted to just at least put that out there that we have just gone off
Yay!
the deep end.
Well, that's
So,
true. I mean, and we need to take, stock in that and see what we're actually putting forth as candidates. I mean, is this
Mhm.
all, just a ploy, a stunt to say, okay, well, we're going to do this so we can control da 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 da, and you're not putting your best representation
you're
forward for the
not.
people.
That's the
That's
problem.
what the problem. I mean,
That's a
you can run for
serious
dog catcher. I had a dog catcher, and please don't write letters because I'm not demeaning anybody's jobs and profession because we all have to work together in this country to make things better. And so the whole point is, I'm just saying he has no political experience. And I'm not discouraging anyone who doesn't have a background in politics from running because good ideas come up and come forth. But we need to pay attention to what we're putting forth as to how we want to be led. And that's just
and
my
Exactly.
two
that
cents.
and that's the last thing on that.
That's right. My two cents, and that's
That's
why I'm
it.
sticking with it.
Pay attention to what we're putting forth. We've
Yes.
had some issues in the past, and we know what that's like, and still has some.
Mhm.
So we don't need to keep putting, you know,
Four.
harmful people. It could really be very harmful for us. So, all
Mm-hmm.
right. So moving right along. So listen, let's just talk about this. And the reason we want to talk about it because it doesn't, breast cancer doesn't just affect women.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. And so we want to make sure that, we want to share even from the perspective of men who have developed this and are continuing to develop this. We also going to talk about the myths and the facts. So I'm going to shoot it off to Dr. Michelle Webb as she can share with us information that she brings to us. And then we'll talk about the myths and the facts about it. Is that great, girls?
That works.
Works for me.
All
All
righty.
right. All right. Well, let's just jump right in. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This, of course, is the month that everyone wears pink. And I always say the more masculine men, you can wear your pink. Okay. So the whole issue becomes breast cancer. Now, let's talk about what this is. Okay, it's abnormal cell growth for any type of a cancer. This just happens to occur in the breast tissue. Now, when we're talking in terms of just getting kind of some numbers and statistics out there, in the United States alone, 264,000 cases will be diagnosed in women this year alone. Okay, and it
Oh,
may be
wow.
higher than that because a lot of people neglected during the pandemic with things
Absolutely.
being
Oh,
shut
wow.
down, and
Yeah.
inability to obtain those services and things because we had to, it changed our world when we were not able to deliver certain things and people could not get certain testing and things. So it may actually be a little bit higher, but the average statistic is 264,000 cases in women and at least 2,400 cases will be diagnosed this year alone in men. And that's something we had not heard
Wow.
before because men had not been the focus. This was purely thought and felt to be a woman's disease until you had Richard Roundtree or Shaft come forth
Mhm.
as a breast cancer. And then Senator Edward Brooke was also a breast cancer survivor and a huge philanthropist. And then he was also a cardiac patient of mine. So now,
Wow.
42,000 women and at least 500 men will die each year from breast cancer. So that's pretty
That's
startling.
a lot.
And if you look
Yeah.
and say, okay, 264, what's 42,000? That's a lot of people.
Wow.
That
And out
is.
of 2,400, then you say 500 men, you're pretty tight in there. You don't have a lot of wiggle room for error. Okay. So this is a serious disease between men as well as women being affected. And then if you add in ethnicity, Black
Mm.
women are more likely to have
Wow.
breast cancer and to develop the more invasive forms of breast cancer, and we're more likely to die of breast cancer than our white or other ethnic counterparts. And there's that part of the disparities in healthcare, lack
Mhm.
of insurance, socioeconomic factors, et cetera. All of those things actually contribute and play a part in it. So we
Mm.
really have to do our part there as a society as a whole in the United States, improving healthcare, access to healthcare, cutting down on the disparities, the myths of such, and also people's preconceived notions. Because as we know, when you go into the emergency room for any variety of complaints, and this has been shown, so I'm not just talking off the top of my head, for any
Right.
particular disease entity, Black people are looked at, judged differently
Mhm.
than, say, for instance, our Caucasian or white counterparts versus any other ethnic group. We are less likely to be believed unless it is completely 100% cut and dry. And then sometimes you still get in the side eye. Okay.
Yes.
So
Which
please, we've
is
got
so
to do our
sad.
part and advocate for
Yeah.
ourselves. And it's more than
Right.
sad. In
Do
such a
you think that
developed
part of
country.
it, yeah, for such a developed country, completely agree. The reason I say it's so sad is because to me, part of it, I wonder, is the communication between the doctor and the patient. What is being both verbalized to the doctor, or what, and I'll give you an example, just, and this is aside from breast cancer, but having a medical background and being able to go in, like when, say, my daughter was sick or having issues as a grown woman, going in there having conversations, you're able to get to something quicker than, sometimes the doctor, they just pass it off, not that they mean to, but they are working on the next case and they're going to hurry up and do whatever they need to do with you and move on to the next person. But because I
Now,
know a little bit more,
okay,
I'm
good.
able to communicate how, in my mind, I just wonder, if some of it is just communication in the breakdown in terms of what is being communicated. Are we able to give more tools or better tools, as a part of the awareness of, hey, here are some of the things you probably need to say when you're in
Mhm.
there, because some doctors aren't looking for those clues, in my mind. And that's just my own experience.
Right. Well, the communication is the big key because when you come in, you have to tell me, the physician, what's going on. Now, the one thing that I kind of hate, and I've heard, and I can say this because I've heard my colleagues do it. Oh, how are you today? How can I help you today? Okay. You know what I mean? Or sometimes patients are afraid. It's kind of, I want to know, but I don't really want to know. And so they don't necessarily, as I say, level up or tell you what's actually going on. And if you're a physician, because medicine has changed.
Yeah.
They're looking at schedules. You got to see 20, 25 people, 30 people to make ends meet in the practice, and there's a certain productivity point and those sorts. So they're gonna like a fly. Some, okay, I'm gonna kind of overgeneralize because there's some of us who do a little different and we still get in and do what we need to do. But I'm going to take the necessary time here, whereas on this end of or another person may not take as much time. So we've got to find that balance within ourselves. We've got to do a better job of communicating, but also the patients have to come in and be forthright and forthcoming. Don't sugarcoat, don't minimize. I told all, do not minimize. telepathy. I kind of have a little sixth sense that works, and I can kind of tell and sometimes pull out where some others may or may not pick up on certain things. And I'm not saying that they're bad clinicians, don't get me wrong, that kind of thing. But there are many factors that go into that. Now, when you have someone who can, one, advocate on their own behalf, and I tell people, look, time generations before, whether it was school or anything else, the only dumb question is a question that's not asked. I don't care if you have your grammar and your punctuation in the right place, because you have a lot of people that have a fear of speaking or ask. Look, ask it however you
Yes.
have. Let me take it from there and deal with you. But if I, as a clinician, am going to speak up here and you don't understand me, I have not done my job. And I can't do my job
Wow.
effectively. So it does have to be a communication. You have to meet people where they are and then speak to them so they will understand. I tell people, look, tell them, say, please excuse me. I missed that class today in med school with you. I was absent. The car broke down. I was running. Can you kind of fill me in? Just I'm not quite getting what you're saying. Make them come to you. Okay. And then you have some who cannot break it down. They understand on a certain level, and that's where they have to stay. But you still have the right to ask for second opinions and see if you can, get to someone else who can either help, assist, or explain.
Right.
Okay. So
Awesome.
it is a
That's
communication issue. It's sometimes lack of reading. And having materials out there that are simplified enough for people to understand. Because if you're going to read to me what come out in the Journal of American Medical Association from JAMA and the breast surgeons, da da da, I'm sorry, we're not going to get that. And so we've got to
right.
make it so that it is communicable and people are aware. So we do have to do better with education, communication, things of that nature. But I tell people, please, please, please ask a question. I don't care about your diction, the punctuation, the verbiage, etc. We're not, I would love the Queen's English, but that's not the important thing. Let's get to what you're talking about. Let's get to the facts. What the
Well,
old guy said, just the facts, just the fact.
right. Well, Dr. Webb,
Yes,
I really appreciate you, being able to share that and make people feel, more comfortable about being able to ask the questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. This is your health. This
that's
is,
right.
you have to advocate for yourself, and when you can't, you have family members or a family
Yes,
member that can advocate for you. So I think it's so so vital and important that it is stressed more than once, because I too feel that sometimes, you're rushed in to the doctor's office and blah, 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 blah. And so you just kind of shut down. Well,
you
hey,
shut down, and you
and
you are your own best advocate. Because I'll
right,
come and I'll say, well, hi, Mr. So and so, Miss So and so, how are you feeling today? Well, you tell me. I said, no, sweetheart, stop right there. Let's start this again, because I'm not with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can't tell you how you are feeling. And that's what I do. I want you
okay.
to tell me
So,
what you're feeling,
right,
how you felt. And so then I
right,
and then I can probe and ask questions. But if you
right,
said, no, I came for you to tell me, well, sweetheart, I can't tell you because I'm not with you
right,
24/7. You have to
right,
tell me. And then I can take it from there and I can run with it.
right,
And you've got a bunch that'll say, well, how are you doing? Well, let's do this good, that good. Okay. You need any medicines? Da da da. Boom. I'm out.
right.
You
Well,
have to
let me just
advocate for
share
you.
this. Right. So let me share just maybe a couple of myths and facts, because I know we're coming to the end just now.
Yes.
So
Okay.
one myth that I think that most people would like to know about: if I don't have a family history of breast cancer, I won't get cancer.
That's not true.
Um, and so the fact is, most people diagnosed with breast cancer have no known family history. So that's a myth that you won't get it if you don't have a family member that may not have it. That's a
Okay.
myth. We don't know.
So
And
let's
so
okay, but
therefore we
let's
want to
let's dive
distill.
into that one just a little bit. Okay,
Oh,
because there are other factors that will play a part. So, of course, if you have a family history, first degree relatives, a mother, sister, daughter who've had a history of breast cancer, you're at a higher likelihood of developing breast cancer. Okay,
well, I was
now
coming back. Yeah. Okay.
you
Yeah.
may not have, and you can have a genetic link that you're not aware of.
Aware
Okay,
of.
so the BRCA1 and
Mhm.
BRCA2 genes, which make you more susceptible to developing breast cancer, they have an
Yeah.
association with colon cancer and ovarian cancer. So maybe no one had breast cancer, but maybe they have colon or ovarian cancer, and that runs strong
Mm,
in your family. You might want to get checked. So I can't
good.
so that's it's not so much a myth. There are other factors that come in. Maybe you're a person, man or woman, who had Hodgkin's lymphoma and you had radiation to the chest, not just a regular chest x-ray. That's not going to give you cancer. Of that proportion, you have to have a certain amount of radiation dose. So I'm talking people that had head and neck cancers, lymphoma, and things where they had to do radiation therapy to the chest. Then you can develop a breast cancer because that puts you at a higher risk. And you may not have a family history of it. So that doesn't
Right.
mean you won't get breast cancer. So you've got other things outside of that. Okay.
Okay. Well, let me
Um,
ask you about this other myth. There is another
okay.
myth that says if you maintain a healthy weight, exercise regularly, eat healthy, and limit alcohol, you don't have to worry about breast cancer. And it talks about the fact of the matter is that although these behaviors can help lower breast cancer risk, they can't eliminate it. All
Right.
right.
Nope.
That would be
Okay.
okay. So we're always told eat healthy, exercise, maintain a normal weight for your height, etc. And so that protects you not only against cancers, heart disease, etc., and other disease entities that are out there. And so that is true. Nothing is going to eliminate any risk or all risk from anything. Number one.
All right.
Number two, we don't have any particular, I guess you could say, preventative or curative things regarding breast cancer, and we don't know the exact etiology or cause. But of
Okay.
course, doing those
Mhm.
things just helps you have a healthier lifestyle, all in all, anyway. So that's always a good
Well,
thing to
let
do.
me. So this is, and I have two more, and that's it.
Okay.
One other myth. Thank you for that information. One other myth is that wearing a bra can cause breast cancer. Now, I can say, and I'm saying from myself, okay. Now, it does say the fact is that there is no evidence that bras causes breast cancer. So I want to share the fact that twice I had a lump in my breast, okay, and then I had a biopsy, and then I had a lumpectomy done, and so and both benign
Mm-hmm.
and everything, but I was wearing these wire bras, and
Mm-hmm.
so I stopped. This was years ago, over 15, 20 years ago, and I stopped wearing the wire bras, and ever since then. So it's been way over 20 some years. I did, and it wasn't like I couldn't get all the little cutesy bras because I like the thick strap, and but I got the ones that fit tight, but no underarm wire, and I have thanks be to God, I have not had any problems with my breast test. I don't go in scared. I have gone, to Emory
Okay.
every year. And when you get there, of course, you've got some women are very fearful to go in. I just go in because, after that last one, I, tried to do the things that I thought, was great, which was to get rid of the under wire bra.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether that's a real thing or not, but I certainly
Yeah.
got rid of.
Well, that is not a real thing. Underwire versus not an underwire has nothing to do with it. Absolutely not. If you need an
There's no
underwire bra,
evidence.
wear an
Yep.
underwire bra. You need the support, and that's what you need. Yeah,
Okay.
underwires have absolutely nothing to do with that. That for
Yeah,
sure is
he said
definitely a
that.
myth. That's
Well,
truly a
here's
myth.
another myth. My last myth
Before
to you.
before you go to the other myth, hey, one quick thing. Something that was on the news last week relating to breast and breast cancer was related to the density of the breast and how the current way of testing doesn't really get to the root sometimes for a lot of
Right.
women that have very dense
Right.
breasts. What do you say about
Okay.
that?
So basically, when you have denser breasts or larger breast tissue, it is harder sometimes for a mammogram to see because you have more connective tissue. Okay. And so you may miss a tumor. A mammogram is not your fail safe. It's one of the better mechanisms and ways in which we can diagnose breast cancer or detect it, but it's not foolproof. Nothing's 100%. So you want to combine your breast self exam monthly, ladies, and then have an annual exam by a physician. Do your mammogram starting at the age of 40. Certainly, you can try and do them younger if you have a strong family history of breast cancer. Now, they haven't quite given a magic age for that, but I've heard some are starting as early as 25 to 30 years old with the mammograms, depending on their family history for breast cancer and their own particular risk factors. If they started their menarche or periods at less than the age of 12, or for ladies who are older, you've had menopause, but it didn't start until after the age of 55, then that puts you at a higher risk because it's a longer hormonal exposure. But when you have the denser breast tissue, you can do a 3D mammogram, which is more sensitive and specific. Others, they have to go over into like the MRIs, the breast MRIs, to try to pick up things. So since you're talking about mammography, and those are key things to detection. Your own self exam and getting to know yourself. Do this in the shower. Start at the upper outer quadrant out here in the armpit region, and you circle around and you come back in until you get to the areola, the darker part of the nipple, and then you want to squeeze the nipple. Make sure nothing's coming out other than maybe a little light or milky substance, anything like that. Anything other than that, we have an issue. Any pain that's in your breast in any area of the breast, you want to bring these concerns to your physician and get checked out. So you don't want to skip on that. Now, I'm going to try to show you all a little handout that I had. So say, for instance, the average, if you've had a mammogram and we're able to pull previous mammograms, then we can detect something that's the size of a pearl on a necklace. If you've had your first mammogram and didn't have anything to compare it with, then it's about the size of a dime. Okay. When you get to the size of a quarter, which is this one here, this third one, that's usually your breast self-exam. That's about what we can pick up as non-clinicians or even as a clinician. But I'm saying you, the general public, doing that, usually you'll get down here to size 3, size of a quarter. Okay. And then for sure, this is a $50, and that's what you find by accident. So this is a $50. That's a pretty good size when you yourself can feel a lump. Okay, so we want to be aware because some people have actually found those dimes. Okay, and that
Yes.
could be missed on a mammogram. So again, your best detection is early detection, breast self exam, annual exam by a physician or clinician, and then at least start with the mammogram. If they're denser tissue, heavier breast, pendulous breast, then you definitely want to try to get your 3D mammogram and
All right.
MRI of the
Thank you,
breast.
Dr.
So
Well. Thank you so
thank you
much.
all.
Wow,
We
this has
have
been
we
awesome. You got some questions?
Any questions?
I thought I saw one. Okay, it just escaped
Okay.
me. I'll find it and I'll let you know.
Yes.
Okay.
So the last myth that I have, and we've heard this a lot, and we'll talk about this one. So it said using underarm antiperspirant can cause breast cancer. And that's the myth. The fact says here, and this can be found on the breastcancer.org, that there are no evidence of a connection between underarm antiperspirant and breast cancer, but
Mm,
the safety of the antiperspirant
Yes.
is still being studied.
Yes.
It's
mm,
still
That
being
would be
studied.
true, and especially the more clinical preparations, I think, are what are at issue because they contain a lot more aluminum in
Mhm.
them. So there's a question about that. And then, of course, I mean, I know this is a little bit off the other side of the subject. They were talking about the aluminum and things that were in our pots and things causing
Yes, yes.
dementia because that's part of the Alzheimer's dementia with the neurofibrillary, the tangles up in there that get in the brain and the little things that get all twisted up, that they'll have a lot of aluminum in them. And so a lot of the antiperspirants that are the clinical strength have a lot more aluminum content. So they are still looking at that. They also have had at least suggested, there's not clear cut evidence 100%, but if a woman consumes more alcohol, that also increases her risk for breast cancer. In men, liver disease and things like that, cirrhosis also increases his risk for breast cancer. Hormonal therapy in women, especially your estrogen preparations and things of that nature, that will increase your risk. Same thing in men. And there's certain syndrome called Klinefelter's. It's a very rare disease. It's found in men, and they will produce more estrogen compounds than they will their male sex hormones like testosterone, etc. So
Right.
there are a lot of factors that go into this, and a lot of things that people are leaning toward and still investigating. But again, there is no substitute for early detection. Everybody, once a month, I tell everybody, buddy check. I say buddy check too. Okay,
Yeah.
2 hands,
Okay.
Yeah.
2 breasts,
Annual.
call a friend and do your buddy check and remind them once a
Right.
month to check your breast. And then, like I said, your annual detection by mammogram is always going to be key.
Annual mammogram guarantees that breast cancer will be found earlier. And although mammographic is the best early detection tool we have,
Nothing is
it doesn't
guaranteed.
always find the breast cancer at an early
That
age.
would be
You
true.
gotta
That's
do your own. So
yes.
that is so awesome. Thank you so much.
One
We didn't get a chance
thing,
to finish all
one
the myths
thing,
about the cell phones, but
true.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
cell phones, yeah, they have not found
Dr.
association. But
Thank
one thing I want to say for ladies, if you do not have health insurance, please do not skip this all important task, because I
Yes.
will urge you to talk with your local hospital facility. Go in and ask, do they have a fund? A
Oh,
lot of the hospitals now have a mobile mammography and things of that nature. They also have foundations that will sponsor women's breast cancer
yes.
mammograms and things like that. Um, if you qualify, so please go to your local hospitals and find out what they can do to assist, because a lot of these things now are being taken care of through your local facilities if you qualify for a lot. So please, because you don't have health insurance, please do not let that be the determining factor in not seeking care.
Yes. Now
Great,
you
great
heard it.
information.
Any questions as we wrap this up? Shawana and Terry, any questions from you two?
No, I probably, for me, I just wanted to say thank you because I know this is so weak. I don't think you could exhaust this topic because so many women are still coming up with breast cancer. We haven't found the cure for it. We have found treatments, but we haven't eliminated it yet. And you still have a lot of people that are not savvy and really understand
Yes.
what's going on. And the other thing to me is from a youth perspective, we've not targeted them well enough in my mind. And to me, that
Yes.
needs to be a target
Our
more
young ladies.
than
Yes.
before.
I mean, there
Exactly.
needs to be a
So,
lot of health education and things that are taught in the school. Teach what you
yeah,
can at home, but you also need to pick this up in the schools to teach, to train those things and get the mindset so that we cut down on the disparities and again start conversations so that people will ask the questions. And education
exactly.
is going to be the key. The sooner,
Knowledge.
the better. Knowledge is always power.
All
So
right, now
that's
you heard it. This has been Let's Talk About It with Alice, with Dr. Michelle Webb. Thank you so much, Dr. Webb. Again, we have to give you
thank
a bell.
you all.
That was
Thank
a
you all.
lot
Thank
of,
you
lot of
all.
powerful information, and I hope that our women and our men got a chance to hear this. Please share this with someone. And as we always say, you love, peace,
Peace
and
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 increase.
increase.
and
Amen.
we say that to you because that's our heart. We say, God bless you. And we're looking forward to next week. Next week is going to be really, really powerful. We got a great speaker on next week. Shawana, you want a little bit about that?
It has a lot to do with domestic violence. So make
Yes.
sure you're here tuning in because just like it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. So we want to shed some light and help share something really powerful. So you'll hear and see all of that next week.
And I'm
That's what Let's
hoping
Talk
that you
About
will
It.
include the youth in that because
Yes.
they need to know early on. And because a lot of times they don't really realize that mistreatment when they're dating is also part of domestic abuse, whether it's
Sounds good.
physical, emotional, etc. Please make sure that is a key and integral part because we got to train them young at what
So good.
constitutes domestic violence, and there are
Yeah.
many forms. So,
All right.
well,
Now
thank
you
you all for
know.
having me once again. I appreciate it.
So welcome, Dr. Webb.